Hello friends, welcome to CloudVi. In today's video I am going to discuss how to install PostgreSQL in a Linux machine. So here are the steps I'm going to discuss. First we'll download the source code. Okay, normally this the video is about installing PostgreSQL version 12 in any Linux machine, but since I don't have any spare machines at my arsenal, so I am going to use EC2 Amazon Linux machine for these installations. But I am using the source code, so it is valid for all the all type of Linux. Okay, then I'll be thereafter I'll be installing this PostgreSQLs. Then we'll be creating a users and initialize the data directory. Thereafter I will validate the data directory and I'll create the database, create a users, and log into the PostgreSQL. Okay, and the last steps, I'll show how to connect to the PostgreSQLs from your client machine, from other EC2 machine. Okay, so I'll show you that what are the things to be modified at the pghbaconf and the postgresql.conf file. And I'll also discuss if you are connecting from a EC2 machines, what is the security group inbound rule should be, and what are the firewall settings if you have anything, like, you know, if this is something also relevant if you are doing it for your corporate network or some kind of, you know, your own network. Okay, so let's proceed. So I'll go to the EC2. I launch EC2 machine. I'll choose Amazon Linux AMI. Everything should be default. Only I am creating a new security groups, existing security groups. So I log into my EC2 machine. At beginning I am going to install some of the utility like wget, tar, gcc, make. Maybe some of them already available, but I am going to install in a single shot. Okay, now I am going to download the source code from PostgreSQL website using wget. Untar and unzip. Okay, now I am going to configure. Now when we configure, we got several options, several arguments. One of the two most popular options, I'll say, that is also for purpose, like we sometimes we use like configure without redline and without glib. Why we use this this arguments? Because if I use this configure command, it's going to be failed for these two components, and we have to install some of the RPM stuffs through yum. So this is easy, but this is not recommended because most of the redline is used for the GNU purpose, for the BSD lib edit for editing, and the glib also used for some purposes. So if I use this is quite easy, but I just want to show you that what kind of error we get if we'll configure alone, and how we can mitigate that. Okay, we already received our redline error. Now for the redline, what we have to do, we have to install two stuffs. One is called redline devil, one is called lib term cap devil. Okay, redline devil, and second is called lib term cap devil. Okay, it says it's already installed. That's good. So let me run again. Okay, we got the error for the glib. For the glib, we have to install the glib double. Now we'll try again. Now our configuration is done. So the next steps, I'm going to run the make and make install. Okay, now the make install, I'm going to run as a root, so sudo. So in these steps, if I'll find this ProsgreSQL, it should be there in the user local ProsgreSQL. So here are the directories. Now the next steps, I'm going to create the PostgreSQL user account. Changing the password. Now in the next steps, I am going to create the PostgreSQL data directory. So I'll be creating right under this installations. Okay, and change the ownership. Okay, permission is correct. The next steps, I have to initialize the PostgreSQL data directory. So for that, I will be connecting as a newly created Postgres account, and minus the data file locations. Now it's saying that I can start the database using the pgctl command. Okay, now my database is now the Postgres is started. Now I'm going to create my Postgres database and test the installations. Call the testdb. Okay, and call it testdb. Okay, so you can say that the testdb, there is there are other things at default, so I already connected to the testdb. So what I can do, that I can create user, say cloudvi with password welcome, alter user cloudvi super user. So if I'll try to connect, SQL U as a cloudvi, D as a testdb. Okay, so that's it. The next portions, I am going to show you that how to connect this PostgreSQL from outside using my client tool. and what are the things to modify to connect to this Postgres. I am trying to log into my newly created Postgres database from my client machine tool pgadmin. So this is the DNS IPv4 as a host name address and the port 5432. This is the username and details. So if I'll try to connect, it's saying that do not connect to the connection refused. Why it is connection refused? So the connection refused could be happen due to multiple issues. One issue is that there may be some connections limitations, or connectivity should be enabled in the PGHBA conf and the ProsgreSQL conf. Issues could be there that the EC2 machines which doesn't accept inbound connections is a 5432 from the outside. It's also happened that, you know, if it's my laptop or something, there is some kind of IP tables or internal firewalls, so it doesn't allow some connections. Okay, so the first things, I'll go to this is my EC2 machine, and if I'll go to the network, so you can see that security group's name is launch wizard 4. AWS is to change their look and view quite often, so I could not see that here. So I'll go through the VPC. So it's a VPC. I'll log into the, click to the VPC. I'll go to the security groups. This is my security groups. You can see that, you know, that 5432 is already open from world. So this is not about the security group issue. This is issue with this PGHBA conf and the PostgreSQL.conf. So I'll show you what could be the issue. So I know that those two files, configurations files, is under PGSQL data. So this is the PostgreSQL conf file and this is the PGNBA conf file. So before changing anything, I'll just take a backup of the files and okay, now first pgnba.conf. This is the main connectivity files. I'll open these things. So scroll down. Okay, you can see that this is the local connections for Unix domain socket connections only, and for IPv4 I am using IPv4 connection, so it is already having a local private IP from this machine. So what I am gonna do that, first of all, I can, you know, if it is only my client machine, if I'll put this this particular machine's IP or a range. So like, you know, I am using a Mac, I can have my machine's IP or which is my IP, and I can put it here. But for just for the sake of the video, because I may be connecting from elsewhere, so I'm putting 0.0.0.0, and I am also changing from trust to MD5. Okay, so that means for all IPv4 address from everywhere I can connect. Okay, the next thing is PostgreSQL.conf. Similarly, there is something called, currently it is listen address is localhost, is also commented out. Now think, what is the IP address to listen on? Like, you know, you can give it the comma separated addresses. Like if you have 3 client machines, so you give individual IPs of the 3 client machine. Since this is a training video, training instance, so I'm using the use easy options star. Okay, now make sure to have it effect, I have to restart the PostgreSQL. That is something very important. So the command stop and then start. Okay, now I'll try to retry connecting from here. Okay, you can see that I able to connect to the database from my remote client machine. So that's all. We conclude the video here. So another thing, just I am not discuss about the firewall settings, like you can check through the IP tables, and you can use some kind of command like IP table, like np, I believe. Yes, so you can see there is a IP tables, or you can check that systemctl status firewall D in the Unix command, and also you disable systemctl's enable firewall D or systemctl disable firewall D command if you have any kind of on host on host level firewalls. So I'll just repeat what I did. This video is for quick installations of the ProsgreSQL 12 in a Linux machines. I installed in a EC2 machine here. So I installed through the source code. I also showed you how to install, what are the configuration option you can choose. I got 2 errors, one for red line, one for glib, and I'll show you what are the components, what are the things you need to install through the yum to mitigate the error. And thereafter we'll create the Postgres users, we initialize the data directory, we validate the data directory, we create the database and the users, and the last and not the least, I'll show you how to connect to Postgres database from the outside. What there is some modifications done in the PGHBA-conf and the PostgreSQL comps, and what are the options we have to choose for the security groups and the firewall settings if you want to connect from your EC2 machines or for your on-premise respectively. Okay guys, thanks for watching this video. Bye.